Terry Lamb takes the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs on to Waratah Stadium. He hasn't played since breaking his arm back in round 7 against the Magpies of Western Suburbs, and it ironically was with Western Suburbs he started this marvellous career back in 1980, and it'll be against the Magpies he'll break Jeff Gerard's all-time record of first-grade appearances at 303. But for today, 300 first-grade games for Terry Lamb. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, they come to Waratah knowing that they must win. An intriguing battle for one remaining spot in the top 5. This is a must-win assignment for South today. David Manson in charge of this game, and Canterbury running from left to right. Very windy day, reaching gale force at times as South Sydney bring it back on the return for the first time. Jeremy Doniger brought down just inside the 20-metre line. Shane Wilson, that is, who's playing at 5'8" these days, with Jason Bell's move to the scrum to the number 9 position. This is Goldspink now. Craig Field able to get around Dean Pay, who grabs at his arm after attempting to make the tackle. Last tackle for South. They've got it 40 metres down the ground. They get a kick in, but that's great field position for Canterbury.
Craig Field taking too much time to kick the football there. They've got a problem, Canterbury. It looks like Jason Smith may have hurt himself in that tackle. He's on the blind side, just outside or going back inside Simon Gillies. If South Sydney are to be competitive in this game as they give away the first penalty, defensively they must be very strong. Sinclair also slow to his feet.
Well, the first penalty of the game has got Steve Guerin's all-time record for Canterbury in his sights. And this kick he keeps low, unable to find the distance, but Canterbury still with a chance. Stephen Hughes is tackled about 8 metres out from the line. Martin Bella. 3 of the Rabbitohs combined to stop the big fellow. Now from Ben Gillies. It goes away through Brett and on to Lamb. Pops it up for Dean Pay, who finds himself on the end of a Goldspink tackle before unloading for Lamb. They're back outside the 20-metre line. So far the defence for South's very good. Jason Smith banged down. Wilson over the top, Bell underneath. Away for Lamb now. Now for Dimmick. Dimmick dummies on the outside for Simon Gillies. Gets a pass inside for Terry Lamb. Taking long to offer support. And now Jim Dimmick rolls it in. Oh, a nasty bounce, but Mark McGaw is equal to it.
Did a super job, Mark McGaw. Plenty of chases coming through for Canterbury as Trindle's wrapped up only 3 metres out from his own line. But have a look at the way this ball bounces awkwardly for McGaw. Stayed down. And a tough job to get on over the top of that one.
Jason Bell now. Souths have won only 1 in their last 4. Canterbury have won their last 4 after losing 2 matches back-to-back. And this is a penalty for South against Canterbury inside the 10. Canterbury leading the competition by just 1 point from the Bears, who beat them here at Waratah. 1-1 the penalties then, as Bell comes over to take the tap on the 40-metre line. Hermanson normally is the first to take it up, and that doesn't change, and that's how they lie respectively, with South Sydney coming into round 18 level with Brisbane and with Illawarra, and Brisbane have already won. The top 4 is settled. There's 1 spot remaining, and South, if they could win this match, they would consider it a bonus. Field across for Shane Wilson, a dummy, but he dummied far too early, and Dimmick and Jason Smith wrap him up. Bell now for Jason Sinclair. He goes high. The breeze swirling around. Sinclair puts all his teammates onside. Then a kick from Shane Wilson. He didn't make contact. And Brett Dallas back on the top grade plays the ball.
I tend to think Wilson should have tried to dive on that football. It would have been 6 again. Good tactic from Jason Sinclair, putting the ball very high. You can see Williams has got all sorts of trouble getting underneath it. South Sydney give away another penalty now for being inside the 10 metres. That takes the pressure off Canterbury.
Waratah Stadium, of course, the home of New South Wales rugby, and the backdrops of 2 grandstands. It gives that swirling effect with the breeze, which I feel is favouring Canterbury, though, in the first half, as Bella manages to make the halfway line. Ben Gillies dummy half, and now Darren Britt, and then a good tackle picks him off.
Well, I don't think it can be a big advantage, Ray, for Canterbury. When we have a look at Daryl Halligan's first kick for goal there, hitting the crossbar, you would normally expect him to put it dead from there, as Dimmick wrapped up 40 metres out. It's going to be very difficult to see if anyone is going to have any distinct advantage with that wind. Pay inside to Jason Smith. Good defence on the fringe of the ruck from the Rabbits, although the ball
that's
got
a
away.
Great pass by Jason Smith, an opportunity for Jason Williams. He's playing at fullback today. Scott Wilson pulling out. Brett Dallas elevated to the wing. And now the chip over the top by Jim Dimmick. Beautifully weighted. And it finds the touchline, so it'll come back to the 10-metre line for the mandatory scrum.
Nice play by Craig Gibson, the South Sydney player, the winger, only in his first grade game. He turned and read the play very quickly. They'll need to do that with Dallas, the flying machine, up against him this afternoon.
President's Cup, a high-scoring game, went to Canterbury as Souths come away from the scrum win. Reserve grade also going to Canterbury, keeping South Sydney to 0. Here's Paul Mellor using another of the young Lions from South Sydney, Tyron Smith. Field pushes it up for Mestrov. The Rabbits are 35 out from their line. Goldspink reaches the 40-metre point. He's put away by Simon Gillies over the top of Martin Bella. Bell for Field. He comes from the right to work on the left. He puts the kick in, but Lamb was back in a sweeper roll. And Lamb was pulled down by Craig Field on the halfway mark. They push the ball quickly from the play the ball for Daryl Halligan. Halligan put down by Tyron Smith and Jason Sinclair. Ben Gillies again for Darren Britt. Hermanson comes up and meets him. Hermanson destined for Eastern Suburbs next year under Phil Gould, as it goes from Lamb to Dimmick and out for Stephen Hughes. He tries to get between the centres, but he's pulled down by Shane Wilson out there. The play the ball has come away for Dimmick and given for Lamb, and then on for Pay and back inside for Gillies. Simon, that is. 32 metres out, 5 tackles gone. Canterbury looking for the ball to go through the hands, I think, and then Terry Lamb ran into a shoulder. He was making up his mind what to do. He's okay.
He just dropped the football cold there, Terry Lamb. Looking at running it on the last tackle as an option. There's some strong defence there from Darren Smith. In the end, it was to knock on. There it is, straight out of his hands. Kicking game from both teams so far has been pretty ordinary.
McGlaw playing the ball. Goldspink taking it up. Darren Smith in the headgear today. Jason has discarded his. Darren playing out in the centres from Field now for Hermanson. Dean Pay first up to meet him, and Bella comes in. Dimmick goes in as well. And they're 5 metres short of the halfway, the Rabbitohs, through Craig Field, on for Jason Sinclair. He puts it up into the breeze again. It bounces down to the 10-metre line almost for Jason Williams. And there's the South Sydney defence put on side by Sinclair's run down the ground. It was a bit late in coming, but now Canterbury play it back on their 20-metre line.
That's the kind of involvement South Sydney need from Jason Sinclair. Touched the football already a couple of times early in this game. As Gillies down the blind side, shoulder charge by McGaw, ineffective.
Well, they're great metres gained by Ben Gillies. The smart dummy half work. He had a marker lying on the ground, and Lamb it is who gets the ball away for Dean Pay. Simon Gillies dives on the loose ball. They're right on the halfway mark. Lamb to dummy half, now for Dimmick. Dimmick punching it down into that corner again and finding the line. Now a scrum to restart about 12 metres out from South line. No score in the match of the day from Waratah.
Good kick there from Jim Dimmick. I think they will tend to kick to the left side of the field. That's where Brett Dallas is. Daryl Halligan not the quickest winger around, and they'll be looking to capitalise on the speed of Dallas by putting the ball deep into that corner. That time the ball bouncing into touch. I think those two men there would be quite happy with the start from South Sydney in this game.
The Rabbitohs back in familiar territory. Working it away from the scoreboard corner. And Mellor thinks that he's able to beat them, but Stephen Hughes is around the ankles. Simon Gillies over the top. And now Sinclair goes in looking for work. And a timeout. Have we found some blood? Yes, Ben Gillies bleeding from below the right ear. It's just a trickle of blood. As you can see there, it's only just a trickle coming down from the right earlobe. I don't even know that they're going to send a replacement out to Canterbury. So South Sydney with Craig Field giving a forward pass. Rabbitoh fans went up and went down just as quickly because Manson gave a very distinct and quick ruling. And now Canterbury. Darren Brett 20 metres away from the Rabbitohs line. Now for Lamb. Dimmick is with it. Dummies for Stephen Hughes on his outside. Right on the 20-metre line. Jason Williams up from fullback. Into the hands of Lamb. On for Jason Smith. Beautifully held back. Then for Dean Pay. Got a pass away. Dean Bell anticipated well. Dean Pay's pass had a little note of urgency on it.
Craig Field is still down in back play. Was hurt in that tackle. Both teams guilty early in this game of just trying to do a little bit too much with the football. South Sydney especially have handed over some cheap possession in good field position to their opponents. That can't continue as Bell's wrapped up from dummy half.
Trindle comes up to dummy half. Scampers away from the markers, and then Jeremy Doniger is pulled down about 45 metres out from his own line. Sinclair a dummy half. Trindle on the blind side. Knocks on. And that's the turnover.
Well, a simple case of Darryl Trindle looking where he was going to kick the football before catching it. And again, a cheap handover to Canterbury. Field position really has gone their way.
Ben Gillies it was who played the ball, so it didn't take long for them to repair what damage there was to his ear. And Jason Williams does well. Beats 2 or 3, then gives the pass, but it's around the bootlaces of Darren Smith. Well, a try has gone begging. He did magnificently, this man, Jason Williams.
He's having a super season. Tries to position his outside man, but there you see the pass was low and behind Darren Smith, who had a pretty easy run to the line. I don't think they'd have stopped him. Williams had to beat 3 men to get in the clear, and he's done that on countless occasions this season. And that's why we've seen Brett Dallas, a State of Origin player, in the twos.
Hermanson. Strong tackle on him. 3 Canterbury players hit him simultaneously. He's a hard man to hurt, though. Hermanson, that pass looked like it was a touch forward back for Bell. Hermanson groggily back into position. I thought it might have stung him a bit, the 3-man Canterbury tackle. This is Jeremy Doniger now. 31 metres out from his own line, and it's away from Jason Bell and across from Jason Sinclair for Mellor. Mellor chased by Darren Smith and pulled down. Mellor had that superb game the last time we had them on television against Newcastle. Now from Sinclair for Field. He's okay. Uses the cutout pass. Here's a chance for Canterbury. Stephen Hughes tried to pick it up. I thought he might have towed it through. McGaw was with it.
6 again signalled there, so that's a let off for South as Hermanson comes back in support. Well, I think that's the second time we've seen a pass affected by the wind out there. The first one was actually in the no try for Canterbury, the pass from Jason Williams. That pass from Craig Field, well taken by the wind, as Sinclair's very involved in this game.
Right on the halfway mark then. The Rabbits go on the attack. Craig Field inside for Goldspink. Goldspink, the South Sydney prop. playing the ball about 5 metres into opposition territory. Trindle up on the blind side, a face pass across for Mellor, and Mellor puts it down. The scrum is going to go at the 40-metre line, Canterbury's end of the ground. Did it get some help? Manson took a long look at his touch judge on that side of the ground, but Canterbury get the loose head in the feed, and it's away for Williams. Standing up on the back line, and Darren Smith was standing deep on that occasion to come up and take the second play. So Darren Smith plays it on the halfway line. Jason runs the decoy for Martin Bella. Bella driven back by the tackle of Shane Wilson, who's made the transition over to 5'8", quite comfortably, so it seems. Darren Britt is 40 metres out from the south line. No score in the match of the day. From Lamb across for Demick to put down into that corner again. Young Gibson is being kept busy. Required to do a lot more defensive work than his more illustrious wing colleague Mark McGaw. Trindle comes outside the 20-metre line, scampered away from one, and swerved away from another. He wasn't making any progress up the ground, however. And now Bell with a little pass up for for Craig Field from Jason Bell. On the 30-metre line, the sound of the whistle, and again a penalty against the tackler and the marker, Dean Pay.
Well, not the place that they want Craig Field taking the football up, but he's earned his side a penalty. After he got this penalty, he was motioning to his players to get the ball forward. I haven't found touch here. Bad mistake. Stephen Hughes catches on the full 40 metres out. Cardinals in that.
Halligan a dummy half then. Darren Britt takes it ahead, gets a pass away beautifully for Jason Smith. Trindle goes across. Smith's got his arms free. Terry Lamb is with the ball. Ricochets off a would-be tackle. Then for Simon Gillies. Gillies, he's over the line. Does he get it down? Referee on the spot with the in-goal judge, and it's a try. Simon Gillies gets the try.
Unbelievable ball work there from these Canterbury players. All coming from the fact that South Sydney failed to find touch when kicking a penalty. Great work here. Lovely ball from Britt to Jason Smith. Normally we see it the other way around. Jason Smith almost hands the ball to Terry Lamb, who bounces out of a couple of tackles and then finds Simon Gillies. Support play outstanding. Hasn't he got some work to do? He tramples over the top of 3 South Sydney players. Bell had an opportunity to stop the ball from being grounded, couldn't do so. Magic ball there from Darren Britt. So much ball skills in this Canterbury pack. Looked like he'd been wrapped up by Trindle, but still able to get the ball away. And as always, through his 300 first-grade games, Terry Lamb in support. Simon Gillies, great strength.
Attempting conversion of the Simon Gillies try, and he does that with pinpoint accuracy. Canterbury 6, South Sydney yet to score. Across from Bell onto field. They cut out Goldspink. They find Sinclair. A snatching type tackle from Jason Smith out there, and I thought Sinclair might have gone on with it. There's 6 more tackles indicated. South is still with it. About 40 metres out. Donagher's got a chance here. Wilson combines, supported by Field. Outside him is Gibson. Gibson goes for the corner. Gibson gets a pass inside, and Bella is there for Canterbury.
Well, probably a touch of inexperience there from Gibson. It was the first tackle. He should have come back inside as Williams is crunched by Jason Bell. But beautiful work again, twice involving that man there, Craig Field. Craig Gibson tried to beat Williams on the outside. The line was too close, the sideline. I think he should have come back in. They had 5 up their sleeve.
Canterbury then working it away from their 20-metre line. And Demick, a towering torpedo punt, which bounces on its end and goes back towards the oncoming attackers. But Darryl Trindle it is for South Sydney, making this weaving run. And a good run back to the halfway line. Mestral throws it back. Darren Smith scoops it up. Darren Britt goes over the halfway line. Not a lot of thought going into some of the passes out there. You'd think we were 5 minutes from full time to look at some of the passes. Penalty goes to Canterbury. And it's against South for being inside the 10. Some people thought it might have been for the tackle on Jason Smith. 6-3 the penalties. That would obviously be a concern for Ken Shine. Second ball on the field as Martin Bella goes inside the 20-metre line. And a little punctuation in the Canterbury attack as that ball is removed. And Darren Britt thunders up towards the 10-metre point. Ben Gillies at acting half works the blind for Dean Pay and for Jason Smith, and close to the line Canterbury's attack with Simon Gillies. Ben, his brother, goes for a charge from dummy half, and the penalty goes to Canterbury. And again against South Sydney, not getting back behind their own line from close proximity. Jason Smith takes the tap. It's gone for Dean Pay, the former captain of Canterbury, who's done a magnificent job in the absence of Terry Lamb. Ben Gillies a dummy half. A decoy went through. Lamb on for Dimmock. That tackle is high from Tyron Smith, and David Manson's got him for it. It'll be a shot at goal from right in front, you would think.
A very clumsy attempt there by Tyron Smith. Actually saw during the week that he said in a publication that he would have to address his tackling style, and that really was just an ordinary effort. As soon as the arm was put up there, he knew that the whistle was to blow.
Halligan then from right in front. And there's a further 2 points to the Canterbury total. The Bulldogs in front of their home crowd, leading South 8 points to 0. 30 metres out from the South's line. Lamb on for Dimmock. Bella's there, a dummy to him. Now that was knocked down by Souths, I feel, and the advantage applies. And so 6 more tackles for Canterbury. Darren Smith. Darren Maroon, there must be a question on his tackle being a touch late. Simon Gillies is tackled on the halfway line. 8-0 in favour of the competition leaders. Darren Britt standing, they're unable to put him away. And now scooped up by Ben Gillies through Dean Pay and Jim Dimmock for Stephen Hughes. Stevens put away. 35 out from the South line. Just the 1 try in the game, scored by Simon Gillies. And here's his brother Ben Gillies now. 27 metres out on tackle number 5. What will Terry Lamb do with it? We'll soon know. He's gone for the outside men with a kick that I don't think is the one they wanted, although now it is. Dimmock away for Halligan, and Halligan, he strolls in for the easiest of tries. I had the feeling Terry meant to push it further out, but as it's turned out, it's been a 10 out of 10.
And it was a good kick because it did not give Darryl Trindle any momentum to get up and climb for the ball. He's not a tall man anyway, the South Sydney fullback, but he's almost stationary here, getting under the ball while the Canterbury players are coming through. Jim Dimmock never took his eyes off the ball and then did a great job to get his arms free and give Darryl Halligan an easy run to the line. No doubt he was trying to get the ball wider. Darryl Trindle will always be troubled by those kind of kicks with chasers. Canterbury had coming through, and Halligan 9 tries, over 200 points now. It's probably the best buy of the year.
Halligan then from right in front converts his own try. And he's bearing down on those records I was talking about earlier. 14-0, the Dogs over the Rabbitohs. Craig Field then doing something that doesn't particularly enjoy, I suppose, under the circumstances. Martin Bella just inside the 20-metre line.
On Friday night we spoke of the skill level of the Canberra side all over the park, including their forward pack. But if you have a look at this front 6 that the Bulldogs boast at the moment, with Dean Pay taking the ball forward, I don't think we've seen a more talented ball player than Jason Smith in the game for a long, long time. But guys like Simon Gillies, Pay, they're not far behind him. And here's Smith again, still manages to get the pass away, not his best. The support play is just so good, always somebody there.
Here's Lamb, turning on the power, the little captain, flick pass for Williams. Williams is held, he'll unload if he finds support. Who wants it? Stephen Hughes puts his hand up. Halligan looks for another try. Hughes says, it's my turn. Throws the dummy and goes in. Magnificent try and Jason Williams and Terry Lamb, they laid it on.
And Craig Field can't work out what's going on. Stephen Hughes has come into this side. No Jared McCracken, and he looks like he's been a regular first grader for a long, long time. But it all started again from Jason Smith getting the ball away, and then Terry Lamb turning something out of nothing. Turned Jason Sinclair around completely. The flick pass, lovely little sleight of hand there. Jason Bell tried to hang on to Jason Williams. Nobody came in to help until it was too late. Stephen Hughes threw the dummy. McGaw trying to get two players. Ended up getting nobody. And Hughes takes the ball around again to give Halligan an easy conversion attempt.
Halligan from right in front, and he converts. And Canterbury surge away to a 20-0 lead. This is becoming rather embarrassing for the Rabbitohs. 20-0 in favour of his side. Darren Britt, from a team with some very talented players, and many of them are shining today, but Darren Britt has been quite outstanding. Played by Brett Dallas. Across from Terry Lamb, and Dean Clay running wider. Only one marker, and now Terry Lamb puts in the kick. Now Gillies is the only Canterbury player in front of the kicker. We'll put that down for future reference. Lamb goes down and puts them onside anyway. And Darryl Trindle has tackled 30 metres out from his line. Mark McGaw scampers over. Jason Bell pushes him out of the road. Paul Mellor now tries to make the break. Very, very close to half-time. 20-0. Canterbury again emphasising the reason that they're on top of the table, and further emphasising the fact that they are one of the classiest sides in the league. A penalty to Canterbury for passing from the ground against young Craig Gibson.
Terry Lamb has pointed to the touchline, so I don't think Darryl Halligan will attempt this one. If he goes with his initial call. Now going to kick for touch. Interested to see what they do here with only one tackle up their sleeve, whether they'll put the ball high or try and attack on the fringe of their ruck with one of their set moves.
I wonder would they contemplate a drop goal? I know it sounds crazy. There's the kick in the air from Terry Lamb, across and high. They get the fly, but Souths have come down with it this time. And Paul Mellor tackled. Half-time then. Canterbury 20, South Sydney no score.
Get ready, Australia. Peloton has come to Foxtel.
Y'all ready? Let's get it started.
To join world-class instructors in a range of motivating workouts, just press the sports button.
3, 2, 1. Let's go. Pick it up.
Select classes from the world-famous interactive fitness platform are now available on demand for a limited time, and you don't need any equipment. Get even more out of your Foxtel with workouts for any mood, all in one place.
Because they count on you, count on it. Australia's only 10-year warranty with 10 years cap price servicing. Mitsubishi 1010. You can count on it.
Shop at Chemist Warehouse and stop paying too much for big brand fragrances. Get Chloe by Chloe 50ml now $89.99 or Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male 125ml just $79.99. Shop in-store, online or click and collect from our house to yours.
Is your internet letting you down? And are you paying too much for support that just isn't helpful? Experience the Aussie Broadband difference. We're Australia's most trusted telco and have award-winning customer service and a 4.5-star rating. With 100% Australian-based call centres, no lock-in contracts or connection fees, and unlimited data NBN plans, starting from just $59 a month. So stop waiting on hold and switch today. Aussie Broadband. Bloody good broadband.
What a wonderful day. All the luck in the world for me. That's the way I do it. Nothing to it. Wonderful day.
When the mood is, let's do this thing, you need a coffee that's made for it. McCafe Iced Coffee. Creamy milk over ice.
Nice.
With a chilled kick of rich espresso, it's barista made, ice cold. Now that's coffee fit for an Aussie.
True
Progress takes no shortcuts. But in the end, it's not about what path you choose. It's how you choose to get there. All electric. Endless adrenaline. It's progress accelerated.
There's a reason football is called the world game. Get the real backstories of players and what it's really like on the ground at Qatar. We speak the world language of football and we tell its stories. Code, the thought behind sport.
There's nothing like cricket. It's zinc on the lips, hands on the hips. Summer with your mates, your mob, your nani. It's old friends, new friends, staying till the end. Search cricket tickets to be there.
Welcome back to Waratah Stadium, the start of the second half in South Sydney. They've got all the work to do, down 20-0. Canterbury Bankstown with Martin Bella taking it back on the first return. 6-5 the handling errors. Canterbury making just one more than South. But these blustery conditions at Waratah, they haven't lent themselves to security of the football as South take the tap, and Hermanson is brought down about 22 metres out from the Canterbury line. There are no changes to either side, and Goldspink reaches the 20-metre line. They're right in the centre of the park. Another forward play for Mestrov. Craig Field setting himself to call the next play, but it's not dead yet because Doniger eventually was put down. They've opened up the field to the left. Field it is who works it out for Shane Wilson. Across the face of Tyron Smith, and again they put it down. So Canterbury with it, 30 metres out from their line.
She's only been back a minute and already seen two handling errors, one from each side. And in the wind, what you're looking to do is to try and shorten your game up. You don't want to be throwing long passes. And make sure that your support players are very close to you. And one side have been able to do that. Great luck this afternoon.
Canterbury then with Terry Lamb, and that passes forward to Dean Fay, and he's penalised.
Well, how can that be deliberately forward? It's no different to any other one we've seen pulled up and brought back to the scrum set. If Terry Lamb threw that deliberately forward, then his reflexes are better than Carl Lewis and Ben Johnson in their prime.
Well, the rule is there, and I guess it should be used, but if you're going to use it, let's be consistent about it. Well, McGaw is tackled 20 metres out from the Canterbury line now. Hermanson. Play now in the centre of the ground. Hermanson suffered a shoulder injury in the first half. He seems okay. Tyron Smith. He's had some fantastic games this year, young Smith. It's away now for Craig Field. Shane Wilson. The ball goes to ground. Darren Smith can't pick up, and Souths have got possession still. I thought he might have restarted the tackle count. Trindle inside for Hermanson. The last. Trindle. Field. Sinclair. Keeping it low. It came off a Canterbury player. And dropping back there is Darryl Halligan. There's a touch judge going in from this side of the ground now.
And this will be for a tackle on Jason Bell. In the previous play, he was absolutely poleaxed after passing the football. Now, how much after, I'm not quite sure. But he stayed down. He looked to be in all sorts of trouble. Finally got back and made his way into the attacking line. There he is going across. And that's high.
Dean Fay is obviously the man that's being penalised. Souths right in front from 10 metres out get the penalty. Two points no good to the Rabbitohs. Mestrov is brought down. Jason Bell taking no harm from the tackle. He didn't try and feign an injury either, which is to be admired. Now a long ball from Craig Field out to Trindle. They've got the numbers on the left as Canterbury compressed in defence. Mellor plays it about 5 metres out from the line. Trindle at first receiver, and this is Doniger with the arms free. No runners. Bell for Trindle. Field. Sinclair on the 10-metre line. Gets out of a tackle, goes under the uprights and scores. Jason Sinclair scores for South. 20 points to 4.
A good try there, good pressure exerted by South Sydney, throwing the ball from one side to the other, looking for the hole, and finally it did open up on the fringe of the ruck there. Darren Smith came in, wasn't able to hang on to the tackle. Jason Sinclair able to spin out under the posts. Might be too little too late, but that will give them some confidence. Good passing from the South Sydney side. Eventually Sinclair able to go across.
Trindle the kicker. Right in front, 9 metres out, raises the flags. So a bit of respectability back on the board for South. Down 20 points to 6 though. It's the start of the road back, you might say, for South. It's a hell of a long road, and this is the match, as we said earlier, that they can't really afford to lose. I can't see how they can make the 5 if they lose this one, given the draw that Brisbane has in front of them. In particular, Brisbane. And we'll have a look at the matches remaining for the Rabbits. Illawarra at home, then West away, Manly at home, and Cronulla away. So they really need this one, don't they? Trailing by 14 points. Goldspink able to promote Trindle, and then Hermanson, he loses it. And it's down with Canterbury, the advantage to the blue and whites. Darren Smith, a bit of trouble in getting up, and then from Britt, he floats it out for Ben Gillies. Gillies held by his opposite number, but they don't put him down. They do now. Not enough intensity in defence from the Rabbits. Maybe not enough aggression either. Bella, 21 out from the line. Canterbury, are they coming into another try? Dimmick uses Terry Lamb. And this man playing his 300th first grade game. Dimmick pushes on for Jason Smith. High shot without any malice in it from Goldspink. Picked up by Dean Pay. And then across for Jim Dimmick. He looks to push the ball out the back. It's with Dean Pay. Rugby union fashion, really. Pay flicks it out. Williams goes in and scores. Wow, Jason Williams already has had a fine game. But Dean Pay was the man probably most responsible for the try.
Well, these two Canterbury wingers must love playing outside. The skill level of this Canterbury team. Jim Dimmick should have been wrapped up there. Somehow the ball given back to Dean Pay, who was involved in the previous play. The sidestep around Shane Wilson and the pass to Jason Williams. Second time a winger for Canterbury has really only had to catch the football and put it down. Dean Pay threw the football, doubled around. Dimmick somehow got the ball away. So much South Sydney defence there, it should have been stopped. And there was even another Canterbury player in support there.
Halligan, 4 out of 6. Good figures on a day such as today. This one he pushes wide. Canterbury banks down 24. South Sydney 6. Souths now with Sinclair showing it to Craig Field. And Bell away from dummy half, but there's not a great deal of support play from South Sydney. If you look at the two sides and the style of play, Canterbury, when a player goes into the defence line, there's 2 and 3 players supporting him, looking to get a taste of the football. Souths aren't showing that same skill as Sinclair makes a knock on. Harry Hermanson has come off and Darren Maroon is on. The ball is with Stephen Hughes, holding them off with one arm and pushing the pass with the other. And then Jason Williams gets a little facial massage from Mark McGaw. Darren Smith cops a smack over the face as Darryl Trindle goes in to make the tackle. Brett Dallas is the dummy half, then Terry Lamb. Jason Smith is with it.
Well, Kevin Moore in 7 has moved down to the sidelines for the Canterbury side. I just wonder whether Chris Anderson has seen enough of Terry Lamb out there this afternoon. Maybe Dimmick may leave the field.
Brokenshire plays the ball through Terry Lamb across for Jim Dimmick. He keeps it low and punches it down into the in goal where Shane Wilson is playing at full back now. That tackle could have easily hurt him. Dimmick unintentionally looked like he might have got some knees tied up in the tackle. And Tyron Smith running action there as he took that tackle. Has to be questioned as Brokenshire reels out of it injured. And now it's with Trindle and then for Mellor. He's looking for support. Finds McGaw, but it's a mile forward. Well, you could ask the question now, was that deliberate?
Mellor looking to keep the ball alive. No doubt it went forward to Darryl Trindle. And if Terry Lamb was penalised for forward pass, that should have been penalised as well. Yes, Chris Anderson is quite happy with Terry Lamb's performance out there. He knows the game is won, so Kevin Moore comes into the fray. Terry Lamb won't finish his 300th first-grade game, but he certainly had a major impact in this win over Souths.
Canterbury on the attack, 25 metres out from South's line. Terry Lamb gets a huge ovation. Oh, boy! Is that a super tackle or not from Darren Maroon? Let's go back to Mark Brokenshire, though. That's the cause of the hold-up. Play dangerously close to an injured player. He went in to make a tackle on Tyron Smith. You may have heard me say at the time, a question mark on the running action of Tyron Smith as he came in to contact with the defender. Here he is now. Yeah. I didn't get a clear view of it, and you people obviously didn't either, but that left knee, I've just got a thought in my mind that Smith intentionally lifted it. Brokenshire off now to the blood bin. And I trust I'm not being unfair to the youngster, but that's the way it seemed at the time. Darren Brett, 15 out from the south line, from Gillies to Moore, Dimmick. Glenn Hughes ran the decoy, and then Dimmick was pulled down. Still no closer to the line. This is Stephen Hughes. He's had a fine game. The last tackle now, 10 metres out from the Rabbits line. Kevin Moore puts the kick across. Dallas comes on the charge. Oh, well done, young Gibson. Well done.
That's a great catch, that one. Difficult catch to take with chasers coming through and the ball swirling away.
Dimmick then. Quick play the ball. Gillies goes to the blind side. Halligan's the only player over there with him. They set for a play to the open side, and there's plenty of personnel. Another blindside rush from Jason Smith. Then Darryl Halligan is put over the sideline. Mark McGaw reeled off a very strong tackle on Halligan. Watch it again. McGaw did not like the tackle from Jim Dimmick. A little bit of heat in there. Sparkles is not sparkling at the moment. Penalty goes to Canterbury.
The referee ruling there that was Mark McGaw who started the aggravation by throwing the first, it looked like a round arm. Dimmick did go high. That's the one that got him penalised. Swinging right.
And this time he's 11 metres or more than that, 15 in from the sideline, and this one he pushes out to the right again. 24-6, Canterbury over Souths. All coming back out for the 20-metre dropout. Bounce favourable for South. Bella having to dive on it and then clutching at his head. He must have worn a boot in the head here. It might have been the shin of Mark McGaw.
Doing some damage out there, Mark McGaw. Always comes in at 100 miles an hour, and especially for Martin Bella, with the man attempting to pick up the football as Hughes takes it over the halfway mark. Just got a little bit scrappy this game now, and I'm sure Chris Anderson would be looking for a disciplined finish from Canterbury. Rip keeps the ball alive to Williams.
Very light on his feet, Jason Williams. Ben Gillies. Moore. Dimmick. And now a chase between Shane Wilson and Stephen Hughes. With Wilson to play it. 25 out from the South line. Wilson has been playing at full back in the second half. I'm wondering whether that is an indication that the coaching staff feel that he's better suited back in a position that he's more accustomed to.
I also think it means, Ray, that they need to get Daryl Trimble more involved. When he comes up in the front line, one side of the ruck and Craig Field on the other, the options just seem to be much more for the South Sydney side, and that's something they've missed out there. There's Trimble keeping the ball alive to Mestrov, and that's Sinclair now. The flick.
Craig Field did well to anticipate and then catch it. Darren Maroon is down, unable to play the ball, following the tackle by Jason Smith.
Again, it was a high shot. You'll see Maroon, when he takes the football, there, he gets hit up around the nose area from Jason Smith.
Sinclair putting it in the air. Midfield bomb. Williams comes up from the deep and does well. 31 metres out from the Canterbury line. Brett Dallas held by Jason Bell. Turned back in for Jason Williams. Sneaks under the tackle of Jeremy Doniger before being held by Darren Maroon, who made a pretty rapid recovery. Then it's pushed on for Darryl Halligan. Halligan's over the halfway line and held by Craig Field. Kevin Moore. Jim Dimmick. Hit a soft patch. The sand right in the centre. Could be put down for a tackle on Jim Dimmick. Look at this. Darren Smith almost from nowhere. Paul Mellor. Back on his own 20-metre line. McGaw. Big and strong. Plenty of pace. Played for Australia.
The disorganised South Sydney this afternoon. At times we've seen the best from them. That wasn't. Jason Smith put it down. Play on 6 again as Field tries to promote something for Shane Wilson, but a good tackle from Dallas over the top. Another Canterbury player in background down at Simon Gillies slowly to his feet.
Maroon tackled and pushing it back for Elias. Then Bell. Mestrov felt the full brunt of the tackle from Glenn Hughes. Now Field. Torpedo pass. Picked up on the bounce by Jason Sinclair. A show of the ball. Then he strides through. He's into space. One to beat. Draws him. Craig Field for the line. The South's captain gets the try. Laid on by Jason Sinclair.
Never been any downing of Jason Sinclair's talent, and you saw it all on show there. Really made some defence there look extremely ordinary. Threw the dummy when he picked it up. That's a pet play of his. A little bit of a shepherd there inhibited Simon Gillies, but both Bella and Ben Gillies missed the tackle, and he didn't lose his head at the end there. He drew Jason Williams. Craig Field, supporting as always, scores the try. There you'll see straight through the gap. In fact, it was Darren Britt, not Bella. The pass back inside, a selective one. Darren Smith couldn't stop Field from scoring.
Trindle then converting the try, scored by Craig Field. Second try in the match for South, and now they trail by 24 points to 12.
Running out of time, unfortunately, South Sydney. Under 10 minutes to go in this game as Sinclair showed a clean pair of heels to get through. Next to the posts, 2 converted tries behind here. They'd have to score almost immediately to be any chance of making this a dramatic finish.
Canterbury with the restart, and Jeremy Doniger back on his own 20-metre line. Plenty of defence players there to contain him. Mestrov gets in the queue.
Not that long to go in this game, Ray. They really need to throw caution to the wind, South Sydney. You see plenty of sparkling attacking football here. Darryl bowled over by Darren Smith. They must keep the ball alive now. They've got to get down the other end and score quickly.
John Elias does very well and goes through Maroon and Trindle's hands, and Craig Fields out for Jason Sinclair into another gap, even though he went through it backwards and then shoveled down by Mestrov for Field. 40 metres out from the South Sydney line. They're doing exactly what Sterlo said, and Bell puts in the little kick. The race for the ball, won by Jason Williams. He beats one and is put down in the second tackle by Shane Wilson.
Gee, it wasn't a bad kick from Bell either. I think he's dislocated his hand in the chase. Just the bounce went towards the fullback in Jason Williams instead of bouncing back to the kicker. He found open spaces, and if it had bounced back, he'd have got possession. He's hurt the hand in there and given Canterbury possession.
40 metres out then from the South Sydney line, and Martin Bella. Powerful run, 35 metres out from the South line. Ben Gillies from dummy half with a kick that goes out on the full. Like a golfer missing a putt.
You'd know.
Long pass from Trindle, finds Mellor, and he finds Darren Smith trailing around his legs. Done some good things in defence today, Darren Smith. Trindle plays it, it goes through the legs of Jason Bell, and he's ordered a knock on.
Well, he's much closer to the action than what we are, but we do have the value of the action replay, and if that went forward, I'm not here.
No way in the world that's a knock on.
All scores, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to the score. Still 20-14, Manly and West. Illawarra now 36, leading Cronulla 12. Eastern Suburbs 26-4, 20 Gold Coast goes down now.
Canterbury, 25 metres out from the line with Jim Dimmick. Kevin Moore looking around. Who wants it? Darren Smith is there. And they cut out a player as they go across for Darryl Halligan. 32 or 22 metres out from the line. Kevin Moore for Jason Smith. And as the game has progressed, they've worked out with Jason Smith in particular. You've got to take the ball out of the game, wedge it against him, because he'll get rid of it. They have contained him a little bit in the second half. Darren Britt, he gets it out. Kevin Moore looks at the line. Fifth tackle right in front of the uprights. Kevin Moore plays it. It goes back for Halligan. He drops it on the foot. And a field goal takes Canterbury to a 25-12 lead.
Very cool play. 12 in front. That makes it now 3 converted tries the opposition would need to score, or 3 times they would need to score. I think everybody in South thought they were going to run the football. Nobody had seen Halligan sneak in behind the ruck.
Craig Field looking for a quick restart. Canterbury only just able to get... Oh, what a magic kick-off, and Gibson had the opportunity. Hughes is with it for Canterbury. Darren Smith. I thought for a moment that Craig Gibson was going to come up with the perfect restart for South Sydney. Canterbury on the halfway mark, leading now by 13 points, and I think their footy tab start, South Sydney, was 12.5. Jason Smith takes a play to the blind. Darren Britt follows him through, and then they work back from the right to the left, and it's played by Simon Gillies for Kevin Moore on 5. Dimmock puts the ball low. Gibson falls back, shows good anticipation. He's done some clever things today, young Gibson.
He looks like a player of the future. One player that has impressed me out there, and he probably doesn't get as many raps as he deserves, as Canterbury penalised for raking the ball out, is Darren Britt. He's thrown more constructive passes out there this afternoon than I think we've seen from him in a long, long time. Short ball to Mellor.
Paul Mellor gets a pass away. It's come down for South Sydney. Did Canterbury get a hand to it? Referee Manson says no. John Elias, he's put some pepper into South Sydney's forwards. Then he gets a pass away for Shane Wilson. Elias, a dummy half, gives it up for Field, pushes it to the blind side. And David Penner is on now for South. 25-12 the score. Bell, Sinclair steps inside 1. Mestrol just outside the 20-metre line. Darryl Trindle is the player off for South to make way for Penner. Tyron Smith gallops over to score. Too little, too late, maybe, but at least they've come back with some courage in the second stanza. 25-16 the score.
Great example of running into the gap. Good acceleration there. It was Glenn Hughes who was found out completely in defence. He overread it, thought the pass was going wider. Good pass from Craig Field here, very selective, bullet-like. There you see Hughes going across. Dimmock didn't have time to come across on the inside. Kevin Moore did a good job to keep Tyron Smith so wide.
Craig Field from about 15 metres in from the sideline. It's hit the upright and gone through. So a further 2 points to the Rabbitoh tally. 25-18, they're down. 7 points then the margin in favour of Canterbury. They led by 20 at half-time. But being realistic in the first half, they showed us exactly what they can do. That drop goal for Darryl Halligan, of course, has snuffed out any opportunity for South Sydney to win the game. Even a converted try here, and time would be against South Sydney. Maroon puts it on the ground behind him, and Bella fell on it. Then South came up with it. So he gives South Sydney 6 more tackles, and Jason Sinclair burrows under 1 before giving it for Shane Wilson to take it within 5 metres of the halfway line. The full-time siren almost upon us as Jason Sinclair lumbers up to the halfway line, able to shrug off a couple of tackles before unloading the ball, something you've got to do on this situation, and Canterbury come down with it. A couple of tempers starting to fray out there as the siren goes in the background, and Canterbury Bankstown remain on top of the table. 25 points to 18. They win this match at Waratah Stadium over South Sydney.